Okay, can you all see lecture 8?
Yes.
Okay,
Parinibbāna.
this is very important topic. Sure test you one. And also a long thing to cover. Parinibbāna is the most important in among all the topics. Okay, the man himself, Buddha. He maintained that Buddha was born as a man, lived as a man, and also departed from the worldly existence as a man. Buddha is not a god. Buddha also not a special being. He lived exactly like every human being, and he lived exactly as a human being. Okay, and then Buddha also never claimed any sort of divinity, nor did he profess to possess supernatural connection with some supreme force. You see the heretical teachers, you also see that other religion, they have something like a starting point of connection with some supernatural power or a connection with someone earlier that lead to their this kind of knowledge or religions thing that they can spread. Buddha never. So he everything discovered by himself. So Buddha was an extraordinary being, but nonetheless mortal. That means he's a human. So he too experienced bouts of illness. Like human, he too had illness and had to use the services of Jivaka, that is his personal physician, assigned by the one of the king as his personal physician. So Buddha also not, even though he claims that to have kind of psychic power, he still need human intervention. So on the 8th year of his ministry, he compared himself as a worn-out cart. Remember Dhammapada, one of the verse, as a worn-out cart, and said his bone cracked. I mean, he knew that he himself, time is up. Like we all senior, every part start breaking down. So during the 8th year of ministry, the Buddha already foresee of his coming future. So his beloved bhikkhus, his so-called chief disciple, such as Venerable Moggallana and Sariputta, as well as the bhikkhuni such as Yasoda, had already passed away, including his son Rahula. So Buddha really lived fruitfully until his 80th year. So the rest is even disciple, all that all left him. Except the foster mother lived over 100 over years old, past Buddha. And then Buddha himself realized that his end was drawing near. He selected his final moment of exploration would be in Kusinārā. Even he foresee the ending of his life, he already selected Kusinārā, a small insignificant village far north of Rajagaha, as meanwhile residing in Rajagaha. Right? I mean, you can go out to this Kusinārā for his final journey. So towards the end there, Parinibbāna, his final journey started from Rajagaha. This is a famous town there, the capital of Kingdom of Magadha. And according to commentary, Buddha chosen the place for several reasons. I mean, those things that they mention in the commentary, the extract explanation further on the canon. He said, firstly, that our Buddha is to preach the Mahasundasa Sutta. A discourse literally translated as a great spender, or what I call a king renunciation. So this discourse is about a story of King Mahasundarsana, who lived in the great spender and he owned the 7 treasure. Finally retired to his Dhamma place. And then they say it's supposed to be built by God to lead a life of meditation. And this discourse was meant to inspire the people of Kusinārā to be more virtuous. So there's a reason behind every move of Buddha. And then there's also a say that Buddha foresee that he has a duty to convert this Subhadra. This was supposed to be his last disciple, who could not obtain a conversion except from Lord Buddha himself. So remember the last male and also his last disciple, these are all predestined for him to do his final thing before he leave. So thirdly, Kusinārā as an appropriate location for Dona, a Brahmin, to distribute his relics personally among his followers. And then, really, the third thing which he predicted was that he need this particular Brahmin by the name of Dona to distribute his ashes or his remaining bones to all the followers that are entitled to. Okay? And there was a dispute especially among the kingdom to take possess of all his kind of these relics that there will be a conflict if there's no sharing of these relics among themselves. So he predicted that this Brahmin Dona will be the final person that will distribute his relics among all the kingdoms, so those that deserve to be shared. Okay, very interesting part. This Parinibbāna, a lot of things, can be learning and also for you to know. Before the journey to the Rajagaha, Buddha was residing in Vulture's Peak, known as Giha Futa, just outside of Rajagaha. There was a chief minister of King Ajasattu. This king, something like a prime minister, named Vassakara. He informed Buddha that this King Ajasattu wished to invade the Vachis. These Vachis, which I told you earlier, was also a follower of Buddha. So this kingdom ever seek for Buddha help on this. So Buddha commented that Vachis were expected to prosper and not to decline. And he told this minister that these Vachians, which he earlier pressed to these Vachians about governing the country. So these Vachi are well taught by Buddha, and if they follow the Buddha instruction, they are not supposed to collapse, but to be prosperous. So Buddha ever preached earlier this 7 factor of progress, Satta Aparniya Dhamma, to safeguard the state. This one very important. In our Pali college, we study for applicable for this called political and also for governorship. If every country follow this, then the country will prosper. So it's very good for you. Even you can apply to your company you are so-called working or you are owning it. So this is a thing that can apply everywhere. Not just politics or kingship, but also among yourself, okay? If you are living in large family. First thing is the Vajjans held regular and frequent assembly. I mean, every now and then, they have frequent meeting to understand each other needs and each other problem. Okay? So a company or a family who have this frequent meeting now and then, very regularly among themselves. So this should be a way. Then Vajjans meet in harmony, broke up in harmony, and carry out their business in harmony. So this Vajjan country, they live among themselves in harmony, in peace. And when they separate themselves, they will separate themselves in peace. And they carry out the business also in peace. So there's little conflict among themselves. So when you have a family or you have a country that practice this, there's no conflict between each other, then this country will definitely have no conflict among each other, especially when you conflict, when there's friction, there is trouble. So Buddha ever preached to this Vajjan, you should live in harmony, then peace and progress will follow. And the third thing, the Vajjans did not authorize what had not been already authorized. I mean, those that are not stated cannot be done. Those that been restated, just follow. And they did not abolish what had been authorized, but instead proceed according to what had been authorized by their ancient tradition. I mean, what the law previously already established, already given, then you follow according to the laws. You don't break the laws or you change the laws. Then everything will be live according to the way it should be carried on. So there will not be any of conflict of interest. So this Vajjan, if they live this way, then there's no problem to the country. Then the Vajjans honor, respect, revered, and saluted their elders among them, and they consider them worth listening to. Okay? In many countries, including my country here, Singapore, if a country honor, that means you respect those senior, that means experienced people or those politicians, experienced one, they already gone through various aspects of their life, which they face the good and bad things about themselves, then they provide answer for you to listen and to digest and to help you to govern the country. You listen to these seniors who are of a help to you instead a hindrance to you. So these wise people, if you listen to them, then your country will not run into trouble. Okay? If you misbehave, the country, that these rules, the senior been doing it, advise you to do, you don't follow, then you get yourself into trouble. So the Vajjans are supposed to follow the advice from those senior who are previously governing it. Then one more thing, Buddha will preach to them. The Vajjans did not forcibly abducted others' wives or daughters. I mean, the Vajjans among each other will not kidnap or take somebody's wife or daughter as for their possession. So a country with no kind of this illegal means of harming others' wife or daughters, then the country will be much better than other country. So the Vajjans also honor, respect, revere, and salute the Vajjan shrine. In this case, the religious shrine at home and abroad. I mean, both in their own country and also away. Not withdraw the proper support made and given before. I mean, they, in a way, they take care of these religious people in terms of their lodging or in terms of their living aspect also. So in a way, they support the religion. They don't abuse the religion. Okay, they don't take care of these religious people. So in a way, religious is part of their life. So by doing this, the country also progress. And then finally, the Buddhas make proper provision for the safety of Arahant, so that such Arahant might come in the future to live there, and twice already there might be a dwell in comfort. So those highly spiritual people that have a high attainment, you welcome them to stay at your place, and then able to let them have a peaceful way to conduct themselves. Then this country will also, in another way, will also gain some kind of merits that they're able to progress without hindrance. So these are the things talking about what Buddha preached to the Vajjan for the conduct of the country to progress. So Buddha said, Buddha advice was for good governance and welfare of the state. So if you follow this way, there's no way the country will go down. Instead, you will progress further. That's what Buddha preached to the Vajjan early before the invasion. And know what they did? After Buddha passed away, then they come and take over the Vajjan. And they did it by creating this harmony among the Vajjans. This is how the way the Vajjan collapsed in the later state. So Buddha at the age of 80, because at this age, he's struggling with a broken physical body, and continue his journey on foot towards Kusinārā. And then in your YMBA text, there are really not many things. So I try to give him many events from other sources into here for you to digest. There were many significant events, meetings, and dialogues, discourses, and exhortation to the Sangha throughout his final journey. And we will go through. From Rajagaha, Buddha and his retinue, the group of monks, proceed to Nilanda and Patilingama and arrive at Vasali. Okay, next event is Buddha met Ambapali. Ambapali is a courtesan, or in modern term, we call it prostitute, or those who are in the darkness of this society. So Buddha also never looked down on her. Okay? And this lady was a beautiful lady, not just a Tom, Dick, and Harry one. So Ambapali was a courtesan. Upon learning of the Buddha's arrival, set forth to meet and welcome Buddha and his retinue. So this lady too approached Buddha and his group of Sangha. She was pleased and that Buddha and his monk were residing at her grove. She was a rich lady, so she has a grove that she provides for their stay. She extended her invitation to Buddha and his Sangha for a meal the following day and was accepted. But this was another obstacle for her. Young Lichavis learned that Ambali is kind of woman, when they look down on them, they are noble people, had beaten them to Buddha's invitation. So these Lichavis offer money to Ambapali to give up the chance of dana to them. But this lady, she refused. So Lichavis instead, they themselves visited Buddha at the grove to extend their personal invitation. but was declined by Buddha. So Buddha never looked at the caste of the society. So Buddha said he had accepted the earlier invitation from Ambapali. Instead, Buddha given the Vichavis and inspiration Dhamma to delight them for their disappointment for the Dana invitation. So Buddha too never disappointed Lachavis. So he gave a discourse to them to make them happy. So we come to Buddha met Ambapali. Later, Ambapali presented her grove to Buddha and his Sangha to stay. She also, like the earlier nobles, presented their land for Buddha. So Buddha stayed at Vasali for some time and proceeded to a little village named Valuva. So as the rainy season arrived, Buddha and his Sangha stayed at this place. And Buddha, by this time, was afflicted with a painful illness, but he endured through the mindful reflection from the distress. I mean, his physical broken down with the illness, but with his mind, he able to carry on over his physical body. So he stopped at this Chapala Chitaya and announced to the Sangha he would pass away in 3 months' time. So the Buddha declined the appeal of Venerable Ananda to live the full lifespan of 120 years. So Venerable Ananda knew that Buddha has this psychic power to carry on living, to live for up to the age of 120. I mean, another 40 more years. But Buddha declined. So Buddha instead exhorted the Sangha members to study, practice, cultivate, and develop the Dhamma for the good and happiness of many. So the Sangha expect to carry on what he did and then to further improve on it. So he preached, "Behold, O bhikkhus, now I speak to you, transient are all conditioned things. Strive on with the diligence." I mean, everything is of impermanent. So I want your people to carry on working hard on it. Okay? So at Bandagama, Buddha mentioned the testing and clarifying the authenticity of the word of Buddha, as heard from secondary source known as the 4 great references, Mahapadesa. Okay, this is what Buddha preached. When Buddha not around, 4 things you can check on the authenticity of this, the Buddhist teaching, whether it's true or false. Okay, so there are 4 things for you to act as reference. So yours to learn this also. This one also an important aspect. So when Buddha alive, he can be heard from the mouth of Buddha. Now, no more Buddha. So what we should do? You can hear from the Sangha of a given monastery. So you go to a monastery, you can hear it from the Sangha member. So when there is no monastery, what you can do? You heard from many Theras and Bhikkhus of great learning proficient in the Dhamma. So when there's no nearby monastery, the next check is to find monks and those old senior monks of higher learning in the Buddhist teaching. You can check against what you don't know against them. So this is the 3rd reference. And let's say you don't have these three of them, so what you do? The final one is to find a old bhikkhu, old monk who has great learning, I mean, have a good knowledge, and you can check against him of this particular Buddhist teaching. Okay, so these are 4 great references when you have thing to check against the Buddhist teaching, whether it's right or wrong. Okay, so especially you in America, you have none of this. Okay, I read from various blogs. These American, they don't want to learn Christian, they want to learn Buddhism. So they come across, Buddhism, there's 3 sects, Mahayana, Theravada, and Vajrayana. So who is a correct teaching? So this particular American will post on the net and ask for views how to be a Buddhist. So you know what happened? 3 sects provide you 3 different answers. So who is the correct answer? So on the net, there's nobody to help you. So so this guy was in kind of confused how to get the correct teaching. So you can see that we are in Asia, we are blessed. We have all the right monastery for you to learn. But in America, you don't have such a purpose. So you pick from neck, and then good luck to you lah. You have to find yourself which is the right Buddhist teaching you should follow. So next one, reflection. Words heard to neither be accepted nor rejected, but subject to close scrutiny and compare to Dhamma and Vinaya. So that's why what I said, you can also go and check against others. Okay, is it the truth, or it can be accepted or rejected? So you yourself also must go and do a thorough checking and compare with those relevant Dhamma and Vinaya, whether this statement is true or false. And our Buddha said, only accepted if they are accord with them and rejected if they are not. So if you have problem with understanding Dhamma, and then you are bombarded with all different answers, what should you do? So you should go and really thoroughly go through and then select the one that you find is can be accepted as true, and then those that are forced to be rejected. So the above references represent one of the several instances when the Buddha denounced blind acceptance of doctrine without critical examination and verification. That's why our Theravada, we have Buddhist counselor to authenticate all the teachings. Those that are teaching not in a canon, cannot be accepted. That's why in Sri Lanka and also in Burmese, there are a lot of commentaries which are not accepted by the so-called counselor that they claim to be true. So we should have open-minded minds to see whether these are relevant and whether it's acceptable. So I wouldn't want to say that this is true or this is false. It's up to you when you do further reading to check on yourself and find these references. The best is to compare against others, so you see whether it's false or true. That's why you come across to the other 3 different sects. They have many doctrines which are in conflict with Theravada. Very hard for you to argue against this is true or not, except that when many of suttas which I would say, want to offend them, it's of no use to our Theravada. But those people, they argue that these are the true teaching of Buddha. For me, I will not argue with them. There are students from my Pali college to ask me about this. I said, you check yourself. Because the more I argue with you, become more foolish with you. So better you find yourself. So this is one of the way for you to seek learning, using this, wait, using this as a reference for yourself in the learning of Buddhism. Okay? So don't anything accept whatever preached to you is true. You get to read yourself, check yourself, and reflect on self, and realize yourself. Okay? Almost 2 hours. I think I stop here, can no? All right, everyone. Next session, then we continue. Almost 4 already.
It's okay.
Okay.
Okay, no?
No problem at all.
So I stop here. Next session, we will continue here. Buddha last day. Okay, thank you. Sadhu, sadhu.